Here's a question. What are Tucker Carlson's real ambitions? I mean, we know he's starting a media company. We had one of the guys on just the other day that's one of the investors in this. And he has a lot of desires in terms of trying to promote freedom of speech, et cetera, through that media venture. But is there anything possibly, potentially political in his aspirations? It's something that Roseanne Barr wanted to get to the bottom of. And she did a little bit. But what I'm wondering is if there's something more there. Like maybe it's not even just the idea of, could I become vice president? Could he have bigger aspirations than that? I mean, I think the reality is, no matter which way you slice it, anybody who is VP for either of these candidates, Joe Biden or Donald Trump, has to recognize that they may wind up in the slot. I mean, for different purposes, I think. I mean, Joe, I do legitimately worry about his health. I think we all should worry about his health. And I'm sure that Kamala Harris is watching his health pretty darn carefully. But if you're the VP for Donald Trump and if he's successful, then you may be keeping a close eye on just exactly what happens from a legal perspective, because it's vicious out there. I mean, it wouldn't change necessarily for Tucker. They'd go after him just as hard. But there are a lot of challenging things that Trump is going to have to overcome, even if he wins. And so it was an interesting question, an important one. I'm glad that Roseanne asked it. Tucker Carlson went on her show the other day, and I've played this clip, but I want you to see it again within the context of, might this even be something more? It's very interesting how he sort of tries to bring people along here and kind of reinforce his support for Trump policies while simultaneously leaving the door very open, certainly to the VP thing. Take a peek.
First of all, on the crazy train there, how do you feel about Trump saying he would consider you for vice president?
Oh, gosh, I don't know. I put that in the category of asteroids striking the Earth. Good or bad, it's so far outside of my control that I'm flattered.
Yeah, it is flattering, isn't it?
For sure. But I mean, it's hard to, I've never been in politics.
Would you ever do it?
Would I accept?
Yeah, if you really asked you.
Think about that. I mean, I spent my whole life looking at politicians.
He goes on to talk about, he spent his whole life watching politicians. He's been on the sidelines. He's never actually had to be the room mother. So it would be a very different ball game. But interesting how he didn't shut it down. And he said, I'd have to think about that. So maybe he's thinking about it. I suspect Donald Trump is thinking about it too. I don't know as it's a match made in heaven. Believe me, I think there's probably better pairings from the perspective of two people that will be able to really and truly complement each other. I mean, this is, two very big personalities in one room that can become a little more challenging, let's just say. I come from the television world. I'm well aware of that. But it can be pretty special as well. It can be pretty magical if it goes right. So what are his aspirations? Does he really want to get into politics? I think it's an interesting question. And I suspect that if he's at all, Tucker that is, considering this, I would suspect that his ambitions would be far larger than just VP, right? He'd want to make it all the way to the White House. Whether that's after 4 years, whether that's after 8 years, or whether that's because Trump has legal issues that become all too problematic. Interesting thing to ponder. By the way, he's a smart guy. He's a smart guy and perhaps more ambitious than some people might have realized. We'll keep an eye on it. Don't forget to subscribe. I'm not going to run for political office. Promise. I'm just here with you every day. We've got a live show. I'd love to have you subscribe to the channel, and we'll keep this conversation going.